Hello guys, welcome back to another ranking. Today we'll be ranking 70s hard rock albums. But before we start, I just want to emphasize that I think hard rock and metal are separate. That's why I didn't include Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Motorhead, Riot, etc. because I consider them metal. And I tried to only include hard rock albums for this video. I know the line between the two genres was blurry in the 70s, but I still feel like there's a lot of albums that are clearly one or the other. And I may make a video in the future when I rank 70s metal albums, which I consider separate. So yeah, that's why there are no albums from Sabbath, Priest, Motorhead, etc. Because I do believe metal is separate, and it will have its own video for the 70s. I know some of these albums may have laid the groundwork for metal, but I still don't consider any of these albums metal by a strict definition. So yeah, let's get started with Machine Head from Deep Purple. And I know it's not in order, by the way. I am aware of this. Let's get started with Machine Head. I put this album in very high A tier. A lot of very good songs on here. I pretty much like every single one. A lot of good keyboard playing, a lot of good riffs, and it is very fast for the time too. It may not be the heaviest thing that came out in the early 70s, or the most raw sounding, but it is one of the fastest, which is very good. And like I said, I don't consider any of these albums metal, but this album is probably the closest you'll get out of all of these. So yeah, Machine Head by Deep Purple is very awesome. And of course the vocals are also very nice. I forgot to mention that. Probably some Ian Gillan's best vocals in all of Deep Purple. And yeah, everything just comes together here really well. And this is easily one of the best hard rock albums of the time. And it is very influential. Next we got Led Zeppelin IV. Oh crap. Next we got Led Zeppelin IV from Led Zeppelin. And I put it at B tier. I don't like this album as much as I used to, but it is still a good blues hard rock album. There's still some good singles, like I like the more heavy songs like Black Dog and Rock and Roll and When the Levee Breaks. But I will admit the less heavy songs are not as good to me. It's not that they're too soft or anything, but I just didn't really get that much into like songs like Misty Mountain Hop or Going to California. They're okay, but I prefer the heavier songs more. But this is still a solid blues rock album. And if you want some more bluesy 70s rock, then there you go. And of course, it's made by Led Zeppelin, one of the most popular bands ever, so it also has that going for it. Next, we got Phenomenon from UFO. I also put this album in B tier. It's also like a huge mix between hard rock and softer rock songs, similar to Led Zeppelin IV. But I still think it's pretty solid. Rock Bottom and Queen of the Deep, especially, are the by far best songs on here. I do like some of the softer songs too. It does sort of have like a heavy psych sound at some parts. I wouldn't call this album a psychedelic rock album, but there are a few songs that sound like the softer side of psychedelic rock, like Space Child and Crystal Light. Those are some good songs, and they're on the softer side. So yeah, this album is pretty solid. There's a few filler songs, or songs that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's still a pretty good album. I'd still recommend it. Next we got Bad Company, self-titled album. I put this in D tier. This song was really boring for me to listen to. I didn't like any of the songs. And it just sounds like the most generic 70s hard rock ever. It's just so boring and generic. And it's very forgettable. I would definitely not listen to this again. I mean, if it was on the background in like some record store, I could tolerate it then. But I would of course never go on my way to listen to this. Like, if I actually do want to listen to my own music. So yeah, this album I really do not like. Some other people are able to get more enjoyability out of it, but for me, Bad Company's self-titled album is very generic and boring, and I have no interest in it whatsoever. But it is really popular, so I still included it. But I really don't like it. Next we got Van Halen's first album. This album is a very high A tier for me. Very heavy. Very, very heavy. It is very close to being metal. I still would not quite consider it metal, but it is extremely close. And of course it does have a very glam rock and pop sound to it as well. But I actually do like that. I actually do like that aspect of this album. There's of course a lot of very great guitar playing from Eddie Van Halen here. And it is their most raw sounding, but in a good way. And a lot of the songs are very classic and very iconic. So yeah, the guitar playing is top notch on here. The vocals are pretty good. The songwriting is amazing, and it is very catchy and very good for arenas and the radio. So yeah, definitely don't skip out on this one, but you probably are not anyway. Next, I got Richie Blackmore's Rainbow by Rainbow, and I probably put this at a tier. It is like a mixture between hard rock and some softer songs, like Catch the Rainbow and The Temple of the King are more soft, but I still really like them. I like every song on here. And of course, the more heavy songs like Man on the Silver Mountain and 21st Century Greensleeves, the more straightforward rockers are very nice as well. And yeah, this is a great debut for Rainbow. I don't like it as much as Rising, but still, an A tier album is still very, very good. And I have minimal complaints for it. Still an awesome hard rock album. Not as heavy as their albums that have come after, but still very, very, very good. And no doubt about that. I do like the folk and fantasy stuff they add here too. Definitely makes it very unique. Definitely a very unique album too. So if you like unique sounding music, there you go. And of course, Ryan James Dio, the singer, is my favorite singer. So you know it's going to be at least A tier, just for that reason alone. Oh, and you also have Richie Blackmore too. One of the best guitarists, in my opinion. Him on this and Machine Head are really good. So yeah. Next we got Hemispheres by Rush. I put this album in S tier. Now I will admit, I did not like Rush at the start. I used to not like them because of the vocals and how raw they sounded. But I'm starting to get used to Geddy Lee's vocals. I'm a lot more used to them now. They sound a lot better to me now that I'm more acquired to the vocals. And the rawness doesn't really bother me anymore. And I do love the very progressive stuff they add on here. This is definitely just as much of a progressive rock album as it is a hard rock album. And it was very, very influential. And most of Rush's 70s albums I do really, really like. And this album has a lot to unpack. Both the shorter songs and the longer songs I really like. And it changes sound a lot too. So yeah, if you like ever-changing albums and prog and some interesting stuff, then this album is definitely for you. Definitely one of my favorite albums on this list. Perfect mix between progressive rock and hard rock for the 70s. Next we got Power Ridge by AC/DC. Now yes, I am aware that they have more popular albums in the 70s, like the first album, or the one where the band is on the album cover. I don't know the name of it. I think it's like Let There Be Rock. Well, no, that's another one. Anyway, I know this is not the most popular one from them, but it's the only one I've finished all the way through. And all their albums would basically sound the same anyway, so I don't think it really matters. D tier. It's a little better than Bad Company, but I still don't like AC/DC. Mainly because of the vocals, they're not that good. And the riffs are very simple. They don't exactly change that much. And there's just not that much variety on here. And I'm just not a big fan of AC/DC at all, really. So that's why I don't like this sound that much. Just not the biggest fan of AC/DC in general. A little bit too generic sounding. And of course, like I said, the vocals are crappy. I do not like. Don't like this. Next, we got Kiss's self-titled album. And if you thought I hated AC/DC, well, I don't hate AC/DC. I just don't care for them that much. But Kiss I do hate. They're easily my least favorite band. And this album has a horrible sound to it. Horrible riffs, horrible vocals, horrible lyrics, horrible everything. Horrible production. Horrible costumes. Horrible everything. And I really don't like this album at all. Or the band in general. So yeah, this album's gonna go straight to the bin. I don't want to talk about it any longer. Next we got Jailbreak from Thin Lizzy. And it's okay. Yeah, this album has a couple of good songs towards the beginning, like the title track and The Boys Are Back in Town. But the rest of the songs are not that good. It's okay, but most of the songs are pretty average. But like I said, the songs at the beginning are pretty good. So yeah, Jailbreak's decent. Next I got Love It to Death from Alice Cooper. I probably put it in D tier. Though it is better than AC/DC and Bad Company. Not the biggest fan of Alice Cooper's vocals, or riffs to be honest. I know he relies a lot on theatrics, which is fine and all, but when it comes to the actual music, I'm just not the biggest fan. It's not the worst thing, but it's really not for me. I'm 18's a good song, though. But besides that, I'm not the biggest fan of Alice Cooper or this album. So yeah, it's just not for me. And finally, we have News of the World from Queen. And I probably listed C tier. It's alright. I'm not the biggest Queen fan. But this is, if I had to pick a favorite, this is probably my favorite Queen album. Of course, it's still C tier. Still not like SRA, but if I had to pick a favorite, it would be this one. So yeah, News of the World has a few good songs like Sheer Heart Attack and We Will Rock You, and a couple of others. So yeah, it's alright. Definitely not a bad album. It's alright. And it is the Queen album I can tolerate the most by far. So yeah, like I said, not the biggest Queen fan. Not the biggest fan of the theatrics they do or the poppy songwriting or the ballads they do. But this album's alright. It's not bad. It's not bad. Well, that's my 70s hard rock tier list. Around Sunday or Monday, I'll probably make the one for the metal albums. For 70s metal and not 70s hard rock. So yeah, Sunday or Monday, I'll probably make the 70s metal video. And yeah, that's the end of this tier list. If you enjoy the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos. I got plenty more like this one, along with some others too. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.